Can you tell us a little bit about your house, what part of town it is in, what year it's built, and about how many square feet it is?
Sure. It's about a 3,000 square foot home built probably around 1902, I think, and we're in Uptown Minneapolis.
Okay. And can you tell me a little bit about what your situation was before you gave us a call and kind of why you called?
We were at the point where we had decided to do central air. Because we were really tired of the window units. We had extension cables running all across the floor, and every now and then everybody would have to pile in a one-bedroom, and it just wasn't workable. So we decided that we were going to do, after thinking about it for a couple of years, that we'd do the central air system. And started doing some research, and when it got to the point of making the decision, it just made sense to go geothermal, because there were enough incentives and everything else, so we went for it.
Cool. Now, tell us a little bit about what the process was like before you made a decision.
Like the research process?
Yeah, you know, as you're researching and as you're talking to contractors and stuff like that, and kind of coming up with ideas on how to handle things.
Sure. We brought a bunch of different contractors in and thought we were trying to figure out the best way to do it and the least intrusive way to do it, and at the same time not spend $1 billion. And there were a couple of different options, and finally we decided to go with the system here that goes all the way through instead of something hanging off the walls or anything like that. And we talked to our neighbors too. I mean, there are plenty of contractors that run through the neighborhood all the time, and so we brought everybody in and checked Andy's list and everything like that, and went with you guys.
Cool. And kind of, what were some of the reasons you chose to go with Uptown?
I was sold almost immediately when Josh came walking into the house and stood in the front doorway and was able to explain the floor plan of my house without looking at it. Like, he hadn't set foot in the house and he knew exactly where everything was and where everything led. And the competency right off the bat in knowing exactly what my house was going to be and knowing that there were going to be some unique challenges to retrofitting an old house really inspired a lot of confidence. You know, not to take shots at other contractors or anything like that, but it was just a much more confident go right from the start. And after sitting down with Josh and going over and over and over all of the different options and really discovering the thoroughness of the thought process that was put in ahead of time, it really became kind of an easy decision.
Great. And what was the installation process like, as far as, so you decided to go forward on it? What was it like from there on out?
It was surprisingly fast and clean. We actually, when we redid the space that we're in right now, after we had done the original install, so the old third floor, and the unit is actually right over here, the air conditioning unit is right over here, they had to come in and take down the paneling walls, essentially put everything up, and then put all the walls back as it was. And they did that, and they did it fast, and they did it really clean, and it was, I mean, they were very conscientious about being in our house. You know, we weren't in their workspace, they were in our house, and they were all really nice, you know, very personable, and going out of their way to kind of talk, which, you know, doesn't always happen.
Surprisingly nice.
Right.
And what was it like communicating with the office, as far as, you know, we've had, you know, I think that the internal communication is just about as important for the customer experience as it is the actual people performing the work.
It was really easy. It was, I don't even know what the right word is, but for the kind of the impression, the competence and the size of the company, and then the feeling of calling in to the home office and feeling like you're calling the corner store and talking to somebody very familiar, and you know, somebody who remembers your name and you know, likes to joke with you a little bit before they get on. It was very easy, and the appointments were always immediate, and always, you know, none were missed, and calls were made with things were going to be late because, you know, something blew up somewhere. So that part of the service has also been extraordinary.
And, you know, it's kind of scary having a large project like this take place in your home,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you start thinking about opening up walls, ceilings, and a lot of times homeowners think it's going to be like Humpty Dumpty. Once my house comes apart, it's never going to go back the same. How would you feel about that? You know, were those some of the same feelings you had, and then maybe what the experience was like?
It can be a little bit overwhelming to have crews come into your house and rip down walls and do all of that stuff, and you know, parade through your backyard and dig giant wells and rip out concrete and everything like that. So at the get-go, it was a little harrowing. But, you know, again, once you've made the decision, you got to kind of trust it. And outside of moving a couple of things here and there to make space for, like, the new boiler and things, everything is so compact and everything is so efficient and well planned out that at the end of the whole process, there really wasn't much displaced at all. I mean, the spigots or the spouts that the air comes out of in the room really aren't that intrusive at all, and they're easily paintable and all that other fun stuff. And ours are all up on ceilings or on walls. We don't have any in floors, but have you chosen to go with the floor? I mean, that would have been fine. There's wood spouts for that too. And everything did go back pretty much where it was supposed to. Like I said, we have redone this room since, but it was put back together as if it was taken apart as a puzzle, marked, and then put right back up where everything came from.
Cool. How do you like having central air conditioning?
Well, it's great. It's unbelievably great. You know, from my wife to myself, and I've not had central air forever and ever and ever, and it's a game changer. It's just so spectacular. And the kids get to sleep and nobody complains, and you know, you don't have to stay 4 in a bed to get to sleep at night, and because there's one room that's warm, and nobody's tripping over extension cords in the middle of the night on the way to the bathroom, and it's just, yeah. It's night and day. It's exactly the experience we were hoping to get.
Cool. Well, thanks a lot for all your time, Paul. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Cool.